In this world where everything moves so fast, have you ever stopped to think about the things that, well, that actually last? Things that carry stories, not just for a few years, but for generations. It feels like we're all kind of looking for that, right? A connection to something truly timeless.
No, seriously. Just think about that for a second. What if you could hold a piece of art in your hand, something with brilliant color and incredible design, and know for a fact that it would never fade? Not in your lifetime, not in your kid's lifetime, not even in their kid's lifetime.
Well, believe it or not, on a watch, it absolutely can. This kind of timeless beauty is totally possible. And the secret? It's all thanks to this rare, ancient art form. It's almost like a kind of magic, really, that turns a regular watch into a masterpiece that lasts forever.
So, that secret I was talking about? It's called enameling. And it's the process behind some of the most brilliant, most valuable watch dials on the entire planet. So yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, so what is enamel really? Just picture this. You take glass that's been ground into a superfine powder. You carefully lay that powder onto a metal dial, and then you stick it in a kiln that's cranked up to an insane temperature. We're talking around 800 degrees Celsius. The glass powder melts, literally fuses with the metal, and then cools down into this beautiful, hard, glassy surface. And here's the kicker. The color you get, it will never, ever fade.
And look, I'm not just making this up. This isn't some newfangled tech. It's a proven historical fact. You can literally walk into a museum right now and find a pocket watch from, say, the 1700s, and its enamel dial will look just as bright and vivid as the day it was made. It's just mind-blowing. That's the real magic we're talking about here. True permanence.
But as you can probably guess, creating something this perfect isn't easy. We're not talking about some automated factory line here, not even close. This is pure old-school craftsmanship. It takes an incredible amount of time, patience, and skill, all done by the hand of a true artisan.
The whole process is, well, it's like a delicate dance with fire. First, you have to get the metal dial perfectly, spotlessly clean. Then, the enamel powder is sifted on with incredible care. Now, the firing. This is where it gets really intense. A few seconds too long in the kiln, or just a few degrees too hot, and the whole thing can crack or warp. Poof, hours of work just gone. And for the really detailed, artistic dials, they repeat this process over and over, layer by layer, with an artist hand-painting these tiny, tiny scenes between each trip to the kiln. It's just an unbelievable display of patience and precision.
So, here's what it all boils down to. It's the difference between something that's just a part and something that's a true piece of art. A mass-produced dial, it's one of thousands, all identical, spat out by a machine. But an enamel dial, it's one of a kind. Every single one has its own tiny, unique character, thanks to the artist's hand and the unpredictability of the fire. One is designed to be replaced. The other is born to be an heirloom.
Now, you might think this kind of old-world art is only happening in Europe, right? But this tradition is being kept alive and honestly pushed to new heights in a really special workshop right here in the United States. And that workshop is called VS Dial. So the story of VS Dial really starts with its founder, Volodymyr Say. He had already spent more than a decade mastering enamel in the world of fine jewelry. Then in 2017, he founded VS Dial in Connecticut. He basically brought this amazing European tradition right to the US with a really clear mission: to take a person's artistic vision and turn it into a completely unique timepiece. And today, they're a leading producer of these incredible watches in the country.
Okay, so we've talked about how they're made. But to really get why this matters so much, you have to hear from the people who actually own these watches. What's it like to wear a piece of art on your wrist every single day? The passion you hear from collectors, that's where the real story is. Let's take this comment from a customer, Mike A. He talks about the perfection of it all. Think about it. You're working with this tiny piece of art. Firing it in a super hot kiln, getting a finish with zero mistakes is just unbelievably difficult. And for a collector, that flawless precision is everything. It's the ultimate proof of the artist's skill.
And then you have this perspective from Tatiana F., which really hits on how unique these pieces are. She basically says, yeah, for this kind of money, you'd want to find an alternative. But you can't. It just doesn't exist. In a watch market that's totally flooded with options, finding something with this level of pure artistry that's also built to last forever, it's almost impossible. It's really in a class of its own. And Carol Z really nails the most important part, I think. You just have to see it in person. You know, pictures and videos, they're great, but they don't do it justice. The real magic happens when you're actually holding it. The way the light hits that glassy surface, the tiny little details you can only see up close, it's a completely different experience. That's when you truly get it.
So when you put all of that together, the art, the process, the passion, it becomes pretty clear you're not just looking at a watch. You're looking at a canvas, a story. It's a piece of your own personal history, designed to last for centuries.
And this brings us back to what makes a workshop like Via Style so incredibly special. I mean, think about it. In a world where everything is outsourced, they are the only independent watchmaker in the entire US that does all of this in-house. They design them and they produce them right there. That is a serious, serious commitment to the craft. So why does any of this matter? Well, for one, it's keeping a very rare, very beautiful artistic tradition alive. But more than that, it's about turning something you wear every day into a piece of personal art. It's about creating an heirloom that's completely unique to you, something that will tell a story for hundreds of years, with a beauty that you know, for a fact, will never fade.
And that really brings us right back to where we started. When you think about legacy, about what you'll pass down through your family, it makes you wonder, right? What story do you want your timepiece to tell 200 years from now? Because with a piece of timeless art on your wrist, that story is really just getting started.